Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wild.
Pick the worst day to record. There's literally so much sports on tonight.
Nah.
Oh, really?
Jesse's mad. He's missing all the sports.
We have literally the worst place I could be in my entire life.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we missing the Raptors definitely prolonging the series?
101 and 129 after Game 7 on Saturday.
That's what I was saying on my show today. I felt like,
Is this the show?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just not in it. I'm just not really in it.
No, you're in it. It's the same angle as before. Also, I don't know when we started.
Doesn't matter.
That's fine.
Okay.
I said this could be the greatest comeback of all time. We just haven't got to the comeback part yet.
You know,
Am I right?
teams who are down 3-0 are 0 and 129, and why not be the one who doesn't let it get to 130?
Well, I mean, I think we need to bring up Herb Brooks' speech to the 1980 American team in the semifinals of the Olympics. Not the finals, the semifinals. People forget that. And what did he say, Steve, towards the end?
They got LeBron. We're screwed. It's a short movie. It's a very short movie.
Man, the previews for that, I remember, just like 6 seconds long. LeBron, screwed.
Yeah, screwed.
Miss
And he's wearing
Miracle.
a big furry hat. LeBron off.
Man, it's as Charles Barkley perfectly said it, because the Raptors were his team.
I'm
He
depressed.
said, "I'm just depressed. It's not just losing; it's losing like this."
It said a lot when Charles Barkley was the guy on the panel picking the Raptors, and everyone else said, "You're probably wrong, Charles."
And he just went, no.
And his argument was, "We're the North."
Yeah, we're
and
the
that
North.
was it.
I'm just depressed, man.
Your Charles Barkley's pretty good.
I don't know.
Yeah,
really
no,
priced
He's
it.
into Shaq a little.
it does turn into
I'm just depressed, man. That's just all base.
Yeah.
Take everything else out of
Like
your
Charles
voice.
will come up.
Shaq is just down here all the time.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, no, I feel like the Raptors can at least get one game. They can get one game.
Yeah, 4.
They should have
Hopefully.
had 2.
They really should have.
I saw it was I think it was a 3-way conversation between Michael Grange, Eric Smith, and Blake Murphy. And they were talking about how it could easily be 3-0 Raptors or 2-1 Raptors.
2-1 is the way you want to go.
Or even 2-1 Cleveland. And that would be acceptable. It's a series. It's a playoff series. It happens. Sometimes you're down 2-1 and win. That's not out of the ordinary. But they're down in the most heartbreaking fashion.
Oh, like it's
Game 1 and 3 in particular.
You
what
should have
the
won
hell?
game 1. Number 3, LeBron gets you on a buzzer beater, right?
Well, Game 1 comes down to, I think it's 4 missed tip-ins at the last second and 2 Van Fleet missed 3-pointers.
And the Cavs didn't lead until overtime.
Yes.
They
That is
never
also a
led.
fact.
Not once.
And then Game 3 comes down to your best players not showing up. What if they just showed up for a little bit, you win the game because your other players showed up, and then you would have a team that you'd see in the regular season that beat everybody and had the best wins in franchise history and finished first place in the East. They would have actually showed up in Game 3 if Kyle and DeMar and Ibaka could have also shown up.
I have a question about that. Do the Raptors... Because this is... I wonder with hockey sometimes, too. There are teams that are deep, but they lack elite level talent. I'd say the Raptors have great talent. I wouldn't say elite. I wouldn't say they've got a Kevin Durant. I wouldn't say they have a Steph Curry. I wouldn't say they have a James Harden, a LeBron James, those kind of things. In hockey, it seems that you can get far enough. Sometimes you can win without really a stud, but that's pretty rare.
Am I wrong just saying LeBron's a cheat code? Other teams have elite talent.
But I mean, I don't know if the Raptors...
No, basketball works in a way where you need at least one, we'll use the word elite player to win a championship. It's never, since, I don't know, I forget what year we went back to, but it was like the 1985 championship. The only 2 championships in the NBA without a Hall of Famer on it were the 2 Detroit Pistons teams.
Oh, wow.
Who won it? I think Detroit won in before the Michael run, so it would have been like 91. And
What
then
a stat.
And then they won
Crazy.
in like 2004, the Ben Wallace years and Rasheed Wallace. But that was like a collection of all-stars that came together, which kind of worked to negate like one Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. But
Whereas the
basketball is
Raptors were just kind of solid.
they're just a great team, but they're not a Hall of
they
Fame
an elite
team.
team?
Just a great team.
You know?
Yeah,
and
'cause
the
they
other
are.
Detroit
They are.
Pistons team had Isaiah Thomas on it, who you could argue is an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
I like how the Leafs are out and we're still managing to talk about Toronto losses.
Well, I was gonna pull it over to the playoffs and just kind of mirror that because I wondered if there's any teams left in the league that are comparable to the Raptors. Like if I look at the San Jose Sharks,
Oh, in the NBA, NHL, sorry.
and they,
No.
do they have a? I mean, they have a couple Hall of Famers. Joe Thornton wasn't playing,
Right.
but Brent Burns has probably
Burns.
got to be a Hall of Famer, right?
I don't know about that, but is Brent Burns, I'm trying to think, is Brent Burns more highly regarded in the NHL than DeMar is in the NBA?
Yes.
Yeah, Brent Burns won an individual trophy, didn't he? Or he was nominated for
Yeah.
one.
I'd say if you were like ranking individual players on a top 25 list, Brent Burns would be higher on the NHL one than DeMar would be on the NBA one.
That's tough.
But it's not a fair comparison because
No.
there's so many more players.
Completely different
Yeah.
sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other question I have for you, and then we'll move into hockey.
Oh, also Sharks fans, sorry for killing Martin Jones.
Yeah. Is
Dude, he didn't play a minute of good hockey after we talked about him.
and that is our fault. How?
All I know is for the last 4 or 5 shows straight. Oh
Steven,
my God, we've
It's
been
definitely our fault.
Answer the question. How did we personally make Martin Jones play back?
I'm interested to hear this.
by mentioning him, Jesse. We've been
No, but how-
you haven't noticed that we've just been the grim reaper of individual players and teams for like several weeks now. We talked about the Raptors winning a game, they lost. We talked about the Capitals winning a game, they lost. What was the other one? We talked about Martin Jones being great. He stunk.
I don't understand how my words that a person didn't hear can affect their play.
Neither do I. There's lots of things
I don't want to assume that Martin Jones
I
didn't hear it.
recognize.
We know there's NHLers that listen. We know.
Yeah.
So Martin Jones could be one of them. I don't want to say that it is. I don't want to say that it's not.
You think he just went
I'm
to bed
Sean
that night
Hannitying
going,
this.
I'm good.
They're right. I
under
am playing great.
Sorry.
No, they're right. I am playing great. I'm just going to stop trying. Here's the thing: if my
That's
words,
how elite athletes think.
if my words are affecting Martin Jones's play, then I should be paid a hell of a lot more for this. I'm just saying. We should all be making a lot more, and a lot more than Martin Jones, and he's making significant money. I'm just saying.
What else can we wish into existence?
Well, no, what else can we ruin?
Oh,
Vegas.
yes.
Let's do
We can
Vegas.
only ruin things.
Let's
I forgot.
ruin the good story of Vegas.
All right, so Vegas is going to win the cup, and now
They're going to win the cup. Not only, Jesse, they're going to win every single game from now until
No,
the
you
stand.
have to mean it.
Oh, no, they're going to win.
You gotta. Oh boy.
They're going to win.
Oh boy. See, I don't think they're gonna win.
Really?
No, I think it'd be really fun, and I would like it
sick.
to happen. Dude, who beats Winnipeg right now?
Nobody. Well, I mean, Predators have
Maybe
beaten
Tampa.
2 games this series.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, let's not count out Nashville. They're pretty damn good.
I know a lot of people are talking about Winnipeg like they're already in the Cup final, and I'm like,
They still
all
have to
Nashville
go.
has to do is win 2 straight games, which they can do.
They still have to go through Magic Vegas, which, like, really, they are Magic this year. And I feel bad for the Sharks because they are, and I tweeted this, forever running into that Magic team. Every year, San
say
Jose
that.
runs into the Magic team in the second or third round.
And did you see today that everyone was randomly talking about Florida because of Vegas,
Yeah, so I
which made very no sense?
So what happened?
So it was basically what happened was on Twitter. I know Jonathan Willis was tweeting about it, and some other people were talking about the Riley Smith, Jonathan Marchand. So they gave them Marchand so they would take on Riley Smith's contract.
Yeah.
Then Vegas takes them, puts them on the same line with William Karlsson, and they light up the league.
Sure.
I think Ken Campbell wrote about it. I want to say someone.
Ken's not had a
else.
great spring.
Yeah, I want to say someone else. Michael
But-
Trakos
but-
might have wrote about it.
So essentially, what people are arguing, and forgive me if I'm wrong here, is that, and this has just become the topic du jour today because Vegas is through, that for some reason, now is the time to say, Florida, you goofed.
Why?
No, it was sparked by the salary cap or whatever it was screwed Florida into having to trade Riley to Vegas.
Which it didn't.
The narrative today was the rules were unfair to the 30 teams who weren't Vegas.
So people are upset about the expansion rules.
Yes.
And I was going to ask
Now
you guys
that
the question.
Vegas is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And about to win a Stanley Cup.
Potentially.
Oh, nobody could have seen this.
See, I was going to bring this up at the end of the show, but this is a good question for right now.
Sorry.
So the question is,
All right, I think we're done.
The press conference.
Seattle's coming in.
All right, so is a fish a sandwich?
Holy it can be.
Go ahead.
Why don't they have the double down but for fish?
Ew.
2 pieces of cod.
Oh, God.
North Atlantic cod.
Fish is overrated.
Cod's plan.
It is,
down
you're
at
right.
Red Lobster.
I love
Cod's
sushi, but
plan.
this is wow.
I swim
This is
sometimes
like-
I don't.
Oh,
Very good.
Jesse!
That wasn't.
Jesse!
That should be the new song. Is instead of hey, in between everything, it's just
Jesse shaved off his beard and he's just out of control now.
crazy.
No,
He's unhinged.
My dad grew a goatee for a while when I was a kid, and then he shaved it, and it was weird to look at him, and that's how I'm looking at you today. I'm like, you're not Ron,
I'm not your dad.
but aren't you? A little bit.
Question
Where
is
are we
this.
going?
Question is this. James Myrtle tweeted this last night. Several other people tweeted this
What does
last
he
night.
want?
I like this segment.
They said they can't, there's no way that they can make the rules the same for Seattle as they have for Vegas. Now, I have my opinions on this, but I'd like to hear yours first.
Well, my opinion is Greg Wyshynski's, which is Seattle's paying $150 million more than Vegas did. They're going to get at least the same rules as Vegas did. Dude, still, like, I would love to know how many people in the hockey world, how many of the 200 trusted hockey men still look at Vegas on paper with their eyes and think it's a good team. They played Lucas Spiza the other day. They regularly play Derek Engelland. Belmar is like a significant player on that team. Dude, Cody Eakin looks like an all-star out there. Like these are William Karlsson.
6-goal William Karlsson.
I don't
Can we blame Marc-Andre Fleury a little bit for it?
I think we can.
a little bit.
A little bit?
He's also okay, so Florida is taking a lot of flack. Minnesota is a team. I can't remember exactly what they gave
And what are your
Vegas.
thoughts on Minnesota?
Dumb. And by the way, we should get to that. But no, they gave up Tuck, I think it was, in order for Vegas to also take Holla. And Vegas uses both of them. So they were getting flack. But Pittsburgh might have given up an additional second rounder for a player who might go on to win the Conn Smythe Trophy this summer. What?
I don't know why that
What's-
was even a question that they wouldn't take him. That was what was hilarious is George McPhee played that beautifully.
No, well, and then there was talk about like, well, he could have taken Murray and he had to agree to it. And I'm like, but wait, no, then there was also that thing about he would only play in Vegas. What are you talking about? Why is it? I didn't understand that.
What's Marc-Andre Fleury's current save percentage?
He had a couple non-godly games. So I'm going to say it plummeted. And he's a 9.48.
I was going to say a 919.
He's a 951.
Wow!
His goals
I don't
against
know.
average is a 1.53.
What a bum.
In his regular season, if you guys forget, he was a 927.
Wow,
And then
that's
he-
incredible.
Coming back off injury. On an expansion.
That's third in the league for goalies with 30 starts. And his fourth career playoff shutout in potential series clinching games brings him one behind the all-time leader, Chris Osgood, who had 5.
And it might be partially the way Vegas is playing because I wrote about the Leafs goalie situation for an article on sportsnet.ca. If you read it today, thank you. The traffic was good. But I talked about Casimir Kaskisuo. And he was loaned to Vegas's AHL team, the Chicago Wolves. and I looked through all the goalie stats for the Chicago Wolves. Oscar Dansk, Maxim Lagacé, guys who played amazing in the NHL when they were called up to Vegas. Just ho-hum, run-of-the-mill AHL goalies. Just ho-hum.
When are we going to find out they were like recording practices or something?
The Gerard Gallant is Bill Belichick.
Yeah, something like real sneaky, and then everybody gets up in arms about
Yeah,
it.
but if you gave the Hershey Bears, if you gave the Hershey Bears like a playbook or like some sort of secret tablet of all the info you need to know about the San Jose Sharks, how
Zone
many
exit
times would they need
strategies.
to play a 7-game series against them for them to beat them?
Is George Gallant?
Is Gerard Gallant the goalie?
Is he coaching?
The goalie, the coach? No.
Then they lose.
Yes.
But if Gallant was coaching,
The Hershey Bears win.
they win every time.
There you go.
I mean, Gerard Gallant's going to win the Coach of the Year. There should be no question about that. And if he doesn't, it's ridiculous and you're stupid.
The award exists for him to win it this year.
Yeah, that's how. I mean, what coach normally wins it, Steve?
It's the Overachiever Award. The how are you this good? You're supposed to be bad.
We can't figure it out, so it must be you.
The better than you are on paper award.
Adam, what side were you on your question?
Well, I have to ask you first. I said I was
I'm on
going
the,
last.
yeah, of course. We're sitting here talking about a middle America hockey team. It's a good thing that they're this good. So I think Gary Bettman's very happy, and Seattle will get the exact same rules.
Middle America. Vegas?
Western,
it's
Middle,
Western
Seattle,
you mean?
like not a hockey market
Yeah.
team is
Oh,
what
okay.
I meant to say.
Oh, definitely not.
well,
It's
here's-
still bizarre to me. It's everything about it is bizarre to
I'm
me.
sorry, Middle America.
Like, yeah. The atmosphere seems amazing.
It's not really North Dakota, but yeah, but yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Corn down.
Say non-traditional market in business terms.
Las Vegas, Idaho.
You think they have
I
corn
really
in
like
Idaho?
those Iowa
All the
Golden Knights.
potatoes are made of, all the chips are made of potatoes. I blew it. Sorry.
You know, it's funny because all chips are made of potatoes,
Blew it.
right? Am I right? Is that just going to fly right over there?
Changing a battery or I thought you were laughing at me so bad that you had to walk away. You had to just be like, Steve, I'm done with you. Goodbye.
If you think that Vegas somehow
Gamed the system.
gamed the system or got too much of an unfair advantage, as was written about today, then you are wrong. Undoubtedly, unquestionably wrong. Going into this season, there wasn't one person, advanced stat, old school guy, trusted hockey man, fan, anybody who thought this team was going to be this good. Now, I feel bad for Seattle management because no matter what, they're not going to be like this.
No.
And it's not fair to put them in that same category. What we are seeing right now is called magic. It's magic. This is why we like sports. So just shut up and enjoy it. Now, as far as the actual rules, you're Gary Bettman. Your job is to make money for the owners and the league, right? It's the health of the league. You sold a $500 million franchise tag to Vegas, who also paid $500 million for their arena too. You're selling a $650 million tag to the Oakview Group. Let's assume Seattle does well, marginally well. And they'll do well in ticket sales. I think we know that.
Like 82 points.
What was Vegas projected to do on Dom Lucian's thing?
I think it was 82.
82,
which
84?
was like the most generous prediction.
So if Seattle does that well, that's still an improvement. The point of being able to grow this game in this, especially in the United States, is to be able to come in under the radar and do a really great job with your expansion franchise. The NHL really learned, and I think they really learned this with Atlanta and Arizona. Arizona was not an expansion franchise, but they needed two things from those franchises. They need stable ownership, which Arizona has never had, and they needed expansion franchises not to suck for 5 years or 10 years like the Thrashers did. And so from those two, you've got stable ownership in Seattle, you got stable ownership in Vegas, and the teams will not suck. You play this correctly, you'll get some good players right away. You make it a marketable franchise. We're guaranteeing you we can make money. And here's the thing. Team comes in, say Seattle comes in and they make the playoffs. People are all pissed off about it. Well, guess what? That $650 million goes to raise your team's salary cap. You want Seattle to do well. You want Vegas to do well. And you want other teams to come into this league and pay astronomical amounts of money.
No, the salary cap is screwing them. Even though it's raising it.
It's
screwing them.
Who signed the contract?
No, Adam, no.
Who signed the contract?
No,
Not even who signed it. Who offered it?
No.
Who put it in writing and put their logo on it and offered it to a player?
You can't. No.
That's my point. You guys, you have to want this. Because
It's-
the only reason we're going to get to, I think we're going to get to 90 million in the next couple years. If we don't have a lockout, we get to 100 million in 3 years. That's my prediction.
So
if we do that, it's because of the expansion fees. It's because these teams are able to come in and be competitive right away, which, by the way, is fair. That's fair. That's the way it should be. They shouldn't have to struggle for 10 years and almost leave like the Predators did before they become good.
or actually leave like the Thrashers did.
Yeah, it's unfair. Anyway,
I was just looking at, Down Goes Brown basically wrote the thing I wanted to write, but he beat me to it and did a really good job, and there's no point of redoing it. But he did the regret rankings for how teams dealt with Vegas.
what a great idea.
Oh, and he did like tier 1.
Oh,
like tier 1
I wanna read
you
this.
actually came out better. Tier 2 is meh. Tier 3 is kind of breaking even, and then
So Leafs,
there's the really
Leafs would have
bad
been
teams.
just like breaking even, right?
Yeah, they were
Because we lost Leipzig.
They were
'cause,
tier
like,
3,
Whatever.
and and he fairly said it's too early to tell. But like, I'm looking at some of the players that were taken, and I'm like, how is Vegas even close to good? Like, okay, they traded a 5th round pick to Vegas. This is Carolina. They traded a 5th round pick to Vegas to get them to lay off veterans like Cam Ward and Lee Stempniak.
Why?
George McPhee is a freaking shyster.
I'm-
How did he get a pick for that?
If I'm Tom Dundon, that's the reason. That's the reason I make the moves that I make. Ron Francis, come on.
Yeah.
Please take veterans Lee Stempniak and Cam Ward. I'll give you the 5th too.
Like, anyway, they traded a 2nd rounder for Trevor Van Riemsdyk. That's fine. And later added Marcus Kruger for a 5th. So Carolina gave them a few things, but they added to their team. The player they lost to Vegas was Connor Brickley, who just went to free agency and went to Florida. Can you tell me what position Connor Brickley plays?
I've never heard the
Left
name.
wing.
Are you sure?
100%.
Did you look it up?
No, I'm just guessing.
Oh, I have no idea. And I'm not going to look it up because I don't care.
Oh, I thought you knew.
No, I don't care. Dude, I don't know. Is he any good?
I hope he comes back and scores 42 goals and torches this next
guaranteed
season.
he scores way more against the Leafs
Center.
next year.
But he shoots left. I'm kind of right.
So he can
He's
play
a
left
center.
wing.
I hope the Leafs sign him. Colorado lost Calvin Pickard, who they then turned into
Tobias Lindbergh in a 6th.
yeah.
But that was when they had too many goalies and they had Malcolm Subban.
No, but sorry.
Go through the bad ones.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
are we
no,
going?
Sean-
we're not
Sean-
going through the
don't
whole
Go
list.
through the whole thing.
Oh, so you
Steve.
want the okay?
Yeah, why were-
Were you going through the whole?
Let's go through the boring part, which is the teams that did well.
Well, no, even the teams that did well though.
Well, we can read the
You
article.
can't go through 30 teams.
I'm still
Steve.
looking at the names and just going, I don't understand how Vegas is good. Thomas Nosek, Griffin Reinhardt, like get out of here. Jason Garrison,
No, give
I
us-
don't get it.
Is there anything else you're gonna go?
I was clearly wrapping up. I put the phone down. I put my Google Pixel 2 down.
You ever get to the top of a roller coaster and you go down that first jump or that first kind of thing, and it's like, oh, I'm not sure this was worth the half an hour wait in line.
Oh, you ever think you have good friends and then they turn out to be a bunch of dicks?
Steve is a disappointing roller coaster. Thanks, Adam.
Come on out to
right.
Wonderland and try Dangle, the new
Arms up
roller
and-
coaster. The point is, listen, Vegas being good is the best thing for the NHL. A, because as fans, how awesome is this? B,
No.
on the business side, it's amazing. The higher the salary cap goes,
No.
the less Nikita Zaitsev's contract hurts.
No.
So you should love this if you're a Leaf fan.
But, Adam, how does this affect the head of the You Can Sit With Us table, Dale Talon? If it affects him negatively, I'm not for it.
Does Dale Talon give good quotes?
I think Tyler Dello was kind of alluding to, like, don't you think it's weird that everyone's just randomly talking about the Panthers today? Like, don't you find that weird?
I think
Isn't that weird?
you think there's some calls made?
I think there were some calls made. Or
Maybe some
emails
angry
sent,
calls made.
texts.
Protect me. I mean, I think questions
putting it
need to
out
be asked. But at the time of all the moves that were made at the expansion draft, Jonathan Marchand was the one that I was like, slam dunk. Everybody would take him all day.
Oh, everyone was like, oh, cool. They have 2 top line players. James Neal, Jonathan Marchessault. Step 3, profit.
Can you guys explain to me how hockey Twitter works? Who started this? And who decided? Why did everyone decide to jump on
Patient
Florida
Zero
today?
is really hard
It
to
gets
find,
really
man.
meta. But yeah, I think it started with, there were several writers that, you said Ken Campbell was one of them?
Yeah.
You
but
sure?
like then someone subtweets about it, and then someone who knows what they're subtweeting about jumps in, and then Platinum Seat Ghost usually retweets it, like quote tweets it. And then Steve Birch has a 13 tweet thread about it. And then people subtweet him talking about
I'll read
how
all
he
of
tweets
his-
too much.
Man, I don't care. I read every one of his tweets.
And then
so I don't care.
Berkshire says something, gets into a fight with a couple people.
Mentions
then Brad
Suman.
Marchand tweets an emoji, and everyone's like, "This is an article on the score." And then what? This is an article. Holy shit! He tweeted an emoji. And
We're
then,
gonna take this Instagram post, we're gonna embed it on our website, and that's the article.
which I've never done ever. A bunch of times.
You've written stuff around it though, haven't you?
I mean, yeah.
The score, it's like, hey, check this out. Hey, check this out.
Well, this is cray. They have a bunch of essentially quote tweets. No, I don't want to dump on the score.
No, they'll never hire us now.
But no,
Can anybody joke here anymore?
For yourself.
We're joking.
that was another thing.
What do you mean?
With Brad Marchand and the Montreal Canadiens had
Okay.
an innocent little back and forth, and of course everyone took offense.
Well, what was
Innocent little.
I don't know.
They
if it was
had
so
an innocent
innocent.
little back and
into
forth.
that now?
Yeah, we
And
are. We are.
then he
So I'm gonna pull it
said
up.
some things where I was like, "Oh, so we're there now."
So here's what happened. Originally, this is the best. Brad Marchand tweeted a kiss emoji.
This
then the
morning
Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, this morning at what time?
A kiss wink.
This morning at 11 a.m. is when this all started. 11:12 to be exact.
When he
Eastern
woke up-
time.
Okay.
Hopefully with an Advil.
Now, just before that, he responded to a 4-hour-old tweet from the Montreal Canadiens, which said in both French and English, without naming names, just a reminder that licking is frowned upon on the golf course as well, which is an article from the independent.co.uk.
So this was about half an hour after the kiss emoji.
Oh, it was after.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And Brad Marchand tweets, funny, throwing shade when you were out of the playoff race since October. Now, Joe Haggerty, who is a very Boston writer, the most Boston, just tweeted a nose to Brad's thing, and then Brad retweeted a pig nose.
Now I gotta think they have a relationship.
Yeah, I
and
think they
they're
were
just
having
taking
fun.
the piss.
But then
That's
Eric,
a very Boston exchange.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they're just giving each other a hard time.
Hey, big nose, whatever, piggy.
But then Eric Engels tweets in response to Brad Marchand saying, funny, throwing shade when you were out of the playoffs since October. Eric Engels writes, right on the nose.
Which could mean to say, guys, he's right. Or it could be like, that guy everyone says has a big nose.
Brad Marchand tweeted back, if you ever get a flat tire, you can just use the one around your neck.
Jesus.
And Eric Engels just says, was just saying your tweet was accurate. Happy.
You were saying it in a way, also acknowledging his nose.
That is how Brad chose to interpret it.
I would love to have Eric on the show to just, but they must know each other as well. Come on.
I don't know.
Eric's not as in the ranks as much.
Isn't he?
is.
Yeah, he's in.
No, but
Like
with
in
Montreal.
Boston.
Oh, and in
yeah,
Boston.
but they play each
yeah.
other 5 times a year.
Yeah, but how often is he talking to the Boston locker room,
No, yeah, his job is to cover the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. But that was I was like, oh, and when I saw that tweet, I was like, man, we were having fun. And then you took it there.
Well, I wondered if that was just him, because it can be locker room banner for sure. Been in a few locker rooms, said worse things, way worse.
No hockey players.
You know what might be the most ridiculous tweet out of anything mentioning Brad Marchand in the last couple of days? The one from NHL PR.
Are you sure?
The one that said,
because there might be another one.
Have we
But
talked
keep
about
going.
the
Oh,
Ryan? Have we even talked about the Ryan Callahan thing on the show? I don't think so.
No, we haven't.
We haven't.
Because
We'll
it
get to it.
happened
We'll
over
get
the
to it.
weekend,
Let's get Jesse to
the
his
one
thing.
from PR NHL. NHL's Colin Campbell spoke with Boston's Brad Marchand and Don Sweeney today. The league put the player on notice that his actions last night are unacceptable and similar behavior in the future will be dealt with by way of supplemental discipline. The NHL had to tweet out that they had to talk to Brad Marchand about licking people.
Because he did it again.
Because the first time, apparently he couldn't just stop licking people. Because they
remember-
couldn't have just fined him for licking people.
When Elliot Friedman reported that they had talked to him about it, had called the Bruins about it, and then he said, no, they haven't. And the Bruins said, no, they haven't. And then a bunch of Bruins apologists said, see, no, they haven't. Because the Bruins wouldn't have any reason to deny that, right?
I'm just going to blindly take Marchand's word for it.
And now the NHL...
And say Elliot Friedman's lying. Your friggin' head a shake.
And then they have to... Now the NHL's pissed because they're like, listen... We let you get away with murder every game, and you do this to us again. Now we got to tweet about it, you jerk.
Guaranteed they didn't even say the first part. Just, hey, you already did this.
Yeah, and we already talked to you about it.
And we already talked to you about it.
confirmed Elliot's story after it came out, and Brad Marchand tweeted the Boston Globe. It was like, this is false. They went back and confirmed Elliot's story and be like, no.
Did they?
Yeah, and then he had the quote in the thing. He's like, no, an NHL spokesperson called me back, and they're like, yes, we did talk to him. And then he goes and he licks again, and then they're still doing this shit.
And guess what? I'm going to make it about the Leafs. I was texting with someone today, and I was like, does thing against the Leafs. Nothing happens. Does something against another team. We are literally changing the rules. This can never happen again.
I mean...
The trauma.
You know what it was, though? I think with Leo, you couldn't really see the lick. There was no angle on the lick.
Except yes, you can. It wasn't.
Did you see a lick? I didn't really see the tongue. You could sort of see it.
It wasn't as, okay, it was on the cheek, which you go, ew, Brad, nasty. With Ryan Callahan,
it was on his mouth.
It was just
Brad
straight
Marchand knows what Ryan Callahan's allergies taste like.
It's true.
He licked his upper lip. He might have got some tooth.
Yeah. Yeah.
That friggin' swamp creature. That's the nastiest thing I've ever seen. What are you doing?
If this kid he's playing for the London Knights, and he starts licking people, one game, is he suspended?
Oh, Dave Branch, who does stuff about things,
You mean
would
he
suspend
takes
him.
action?
A little bit.
If this is a Pee-wee kid and he goes and he licks somebody,
Well, you can't because you got the K, John. But if you somehow have a Gene Simmons ass tongue, like a giraffe, blah, 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 then yeah, I think that for sure.
I can't tell him not to lick people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Why do we have to tell this grown ass man to not lick people?
Well, and here's the thing. People were like, oh, that's sexual assault. And like in any other workplace, I hate to say it, like I don't want to blow it to that proportion, but that's what it is.
Literally is.
It literally is.
Yeah, a lot of people did say that, but like in any other workplace, you're not allowed to just go, man, like
Sure, you're not allowed to
smush
hit
someone's
people,
face
yeah.
with a smelly glove.
Yeah,
punch
that's
someone in
true.
the face and get 5 minutes.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
things.
you're right.
There's a lot of things you can't do in a regular workplace you can do on the like
Yeah, that's true, man.
you slash someone right on the ankle and they're freaking out for the rest of the day. Johnson! 2 minutes in your cubicle. Like,
Stop accounting for 2
hey,
minutes.
you need to cool off. Go cool off for 2 minutes. You just broke Jody's ankle. We need them. They're a valuable part of
Jody's
this team.
65 years old. He's a couple days from
Yeah.
retirement.
Listen,
We should take things from other sports and put them into workplaces, like beaming a guy in baseball. Oh, just like, all right, walk to first. Walk over to your desk. He hit you with a ball. Walk over to your
Give you a
desk.
free chocolate bar from the vending machine.
just boo people at like presentations.
Yeah,
Boom!
but it's not people in your department. They bring over people to watch you. Like the cleaning staff, they get to come and boo you while you work.
Marketing gets to depict or take apart your presentation. That's fun.
Anyway,
There's a panel. Imagine there was a Skip Bayless for the place you work. And like you work from 9 to 12 and then your lunch hour you just have to watch TV where Skip Bayless just talks shit about your first 3 hours at work and talks about how it was bad.
and it happens every single day for an hour.
And imagine being the LeBron of your workplace and no matter how good you do, he has something bad to say about you. Be great.
You know, being a pro athlete is not the same as working in a workplace.
It's not the same.
No, it's
I think
definitely
it's a little
not. No,
different.
it's very different.
Not the same. There's even even in basketball where like when there's a fight and I'm like, okay, basketball fights are ridiculous. It's just a couple of people shoving each other. You can't shove someone.
No?
You can't put your hands on a person. That's not
You
allowed.
can't dunk on a person at your workprace.
Man.
No, but at least dunking on a person
God, you can't even wear a
is
tank top
involved
to
in
work.
the job. But a shoving match? You can't have a shoving match.
Can't wear a tank top
All
to work.
right, so I think in conclusion, Brad Marchand should be allowed to lick people.
He should.
It's
Yeah.
in the game of hockey.
There you go.
I want straight up French kissing all over the ice next year.
I don't know if it was actually Dave
You wouldn't want
McCarthy.
French kissing you, Montreal.
That's right.
Oh, you see, because I don't know if it was actually Dave McCarthy who wrote the story, but I saw him tweeting about it. Someone spoke to Sean Avery, and they were like, "What do you think about the licking thing?" And the subtext there is, "So you also made the NHL create a ridiculous rule." What do you think? And he's like, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen."
Oh, really? That's what he said?
got indignant about it.
Oh, Sean. Now I have to.
Did you think he'd be chill?
I respect Sean Avery for that. He said some really terrible things and did some really terrible things. But on a pure hockey level, what he did to Martin Brodeur, at the time I was like, yes. Somebody actually got creative with the game.
So that's really interesting because he didn't touch him.
He didn't. And that's the thing. He's just waving his stick. So you're telling me you can't do that? Like, if we had a podcast at the time, I would have stuck up for Sean Avery, which is hard to do.
And the only player that rule was called on after it was enforced was Chris Pronger. The only player.
Another guy who you'd have a hard time defending in most situations.
Well, and I think, if I remember correctly, I mean, it's so vague and it's from so long ago, but the rule was you can't just face a goalie and block his sight.
Why?
And Pronger was like, okay, and faced the other way and just put his hand up and was blocking his sight. And they called him for it. And he's like, but the rule is...
Damn.
Why is
I don't
that?
understand. You're allowed to stand in front. And
So
be a
why can't you block
nuisance.
the goalie?
I don't know.
Chances are you're going to hit with the puck anyway.
Well, yeah, and like if you're just putting up your hand, you're not touching anyone.
I just don't get that.
It's
not in the
it's
spirit
like-
of the game.
It's such a childish thing, though.
It's brother sister like friggin'
I'm not touching you.
I'm not even touching them. And it's
Yeah.
Bart. It's literally Bart and Lisa. All right, I'm gonna spin my arms like this.
And if you get in the way, it's your own fault.
That's my point, though. Why can't we do that?
I don't know.
You can put your hand in someone's face in basketball. You can block their view.
Sure.
No.
No, well,
No.
unless it's LeBron and it's foul.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Lance Stevenson actually blowing in his ear.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, that was.
So that's gonna be the new thing, by the way. Who's gonna be the first player to do it?
Lick someone?
No, because
Blowing
licking someone's out now.
oh,
Do
I'm
they
sure
now
they
go
do.
to blowing in the ear?
Well, I'm sure they do.
We would have footage of it, wouldn't he?
Not
I
necessarily.
don't think anybody's going to do that because
Oh, yeah.
nobody was willing to be dumb enough to lick someone until this moment.
Brad Marchand will find a
Jesse,
way.
I think the worst assumption you can make is no one is dumb enough.
That's a sad thing to say, Steve.
Dude,
It's a damn correct.
how many times have we thought no one's dumb enough? And it's happened.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. And welcome to.
Welcome to Jackass. Welcome to the NHL.
I'm gonna blow air into Dave Char's face. And then a bull randomly comes from like between his legs and just takes him out. All his teammates are like,
So,
that's the best part of Jackass is everyone in the room going, oh.
not to harp too much on the Bruins here, but it was sort of fun for a minute to see all of the indignant Bruins fans after the series, especially Stanley Cup of Chowda, which said the better team did not win the series. The ref blew it. Now, the ref did blow some calls. For sure.
Hockey.
And then they tweeted, "We're not saying the Tampa's not the better team." Right
Oh, I'm
afterwards,
sorry, who are you playing?
just
Sorry, we were referring to the 1979 Montreal Canadiens. Who are you talking about? Sorry.
it was very funny, and I thought Down Goes Brown had a perfect tweet to explain.
because of course.
He is on fire these playoffs, and he wrote this.
He's been on fire since birth.
Can't believe how obviously and transparently biased the NHL is against an original six team from a big TV market whose owner basically runs the league. Like, so true.
dude.
Jeremy Jacobs is the NHL owners.
Yeah.
Why is that?
He's been around a long time.
Been around a very long
Didn't
time.
he tell the Winnipeg Jets owners to sit down and shut the F up at the
I think it was
the
at
last
the lockout
lockout?
table or something along those lines. I haven't read the stuff about him in a long time, but he's not well liked.
Oh.
He's not well liked by people who enjoy watching hockey. I don't even think he's well liked by Bruins fans.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, he's been very successful.
He's kind of like a Robert Kraft type.
Well, Robert Kraft has won many times, and Jeremy Jacobs won once.
Well, he still won.
He still won.
Robert
Yeah.
Kraft is, in certain instances, at least likable sometimes. Like, I
I
mean,
like Kraft dinner.
No.
stop.
He invented it. His last name is Kraft.
Did he actually invent it?
That's why he's a billionaire. He
Yeah.
owns Kraft.
So why
His name is Robert Kraft.
Why did they make
Steven.
Kraft dinner like it's a Canadian thing then?
It's not. No,
It's a
because
Canadian stereotype.
no, it's not called Kraft dinner in America. It's called just mac and cheese box thing. But the Kraft company is owned by the guy named Robert Kraft.
Well, yeah, no, that I know, but I
Okay.
just made the connection. Wait a sec.
Kraft dinner, he invented that for Canadians. I like him.
He owns the best team in America ball.
Yeah, in the biggest sport in North America.
But
he
invented
owns
Kraft
that.
dinner.
And he invented Kraft dinner. We should be thanking him.
I mean,
Adam, are you
it was a
looking
big
it up?
part of my childhood.
Because I'm not wrong. I am never wrong, and nor have I ever been wrong.
My favorite thing.
I don't see anything here about that, but
I hope it's wrong.
He owns Kraft, right?
he is an investor in New England Television Corp.
I hope that's
Sat
just his
on
name
the-
and you're an idiot.
I think Jesse's full of shit. I think Jesse's completely full of shit.
You guys, don't look it up.
He
Just assume that the guy who's a billionaire named Kraft
in 19
runs Kraft.
in 1972 he founded International Forest Products, a trader of physical paper commodities.
Dude, just Google who owns Kraft dinner.
Not to be confused with Kraft Foods.
If it's not Terrence and Phillip, I'm going to be so pissed.
Anyway, long story short, Jeremy Jacobs not necessarily well liked.
I'm probably
but
so
they've done
wrong
well.
about Kraft dinner.
I
But
hope you are
It's
and aren't.
super good.
I hope you are, and I'm interested to see how you get out of it.
I'm not going to address Well, I'll address it.
He'll
I'll
double
tell you
down
how
on
I'm
it.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
My
okay.
favorite segment is No with Jesse Blake.
I have one of those coming up.
If
Great.
both series
Bonus coverage.
if both series wrap up tonight, 80% of the playoffs will basically be done. And that's thank you to Andrew Berkshire for that.
That's crazy.
I know it's early. I wonder.
And yet half done.
When was the last time the cup was awarded in May? Because it's possible it could be.
No, they're not going to play 2 full rounds of hockey. And
No, I don't think they can.
no.
No, the Stanley Cup Final is actually already scheduled.
Oh,
Yeah.
It is?
imagine there's two.
They
Sweet.
have an early start date, like this, it can only start this day, and then a latest start date.
Do we know?
Right.
We get like the TV schedules.
Do we have that yet?
I don't know.
Are we allowed to talk about that?
But
Oh, yeah.
I
is
don't
that
have it
public?
here.
No,
No,
mean,
it doesn't. I didn't say any dates or anything. It's fine.
Oh.
But it's in June. You can
Yeah.
tell us it's in the month of June.
I think I want to say the earliest in the last like 20 years or something like that is June 9th.
there have
It's
been,
usually June double digits.
there have been a lot of 5-game series this year. A lot of 5-6. And Leafs. I think Leafs and Bruins are the only 7.
They are.
And really, I mean, it's surprising. It's surprising that Boston went down in 5. I'm really surprised. I thought, did I go in thinking Tampa was a better team? For sure, but I didn't know that. Like, I don't think Bruins fans even expected that. They were, dude, they were on a
and they
tear.
lost 4 straight. As
Yeah.
Well. No, I think part of the reason the Leafs were able to crawl back in that series is Boston was fizzling, and Tampa was well rested, and the Leafs just came at Boston with depth and depth and depth, and Tampa is just a better version of that. Which is why it would have been cool to see a Leafs Tampa series, just depth for depth. But
No, we may get our wish next year.
yeah. Yeah, maybe. And be careful what you wish for. But no, Tampa is just too deep. Too deep to contend with. They were well rested. Boston was a little beat up. They had that really difficult end of the season, and they were the only team to have a 7-game series. I'm not surprised. And it's tough. Like you'll never ever actually get an idea of who the straight up best hockey team is one game only, because that's not how it works. The schedule is weird, and the playoffs are a little bit weird. They're an extra factor, and you'll never get the. Wouldn't it be great if the Stanley Cup Final? It's like the Super Bowl. You get like 2 weeks off
Yeah.
or something before the final
Heal
starts,
them up.
and then you'll know. but that's never going to happen. So
If you really wanted a champion, you would award the
Regular season
champion of the
champ.
regular season the trophy.
they do.
The trophy, I said. They don't give it the trophy. They give it a trophy that is much less
That
important.
no one wants to touch because we're all adults here. Because that trophy, that's what will affect your play.
You're sitting in a room with Stephen Dangle.
I know.
So
I know.
don't.
It's the wrong audience, isn't it?
Yeah.
I do.
Stephen A. Dangle.
Stephen A. Dangle.
Do we really believe Washington can do it? They're playing tonight. Do we believe?
What's the score?
1-1 in the third.
Wow.
So you can't have any hot takes on this one. What do we believe?
Yeah, because didn't we call this like months ago?
That they would do it?
Yeah, the pressure's off. I might owe you $20.
This is the thing you said, right?
So someone, I think, posted it on our Reddit. Apparently, you and I made a handshake bet. You sitting in this chair that I'm in now, and I was sitting in Jesse's chair right there. I bet you that if Washington played Pittsburgh in the playoffs, I think I even said round 2, that Pittsburgh will win, and I'll bet you $20.
And
do.
you literally
We shook.
shook hands.
We
Because
shook
I
on it.
believe that Washington is capable of far more now that the pressure's off.
And that's what you said at the time, and you've said it for months and months. I think you might have even been saying it since like the summer.
Did they not win the division again?
I
they
think
not?
they did by like the hair on their chinny chin chin. But
they
did.
won.
But they did.
Who's
Yeah.
the other team in that division?
Columbus.
Columbus,
Yeah, so it was
Pittsburgh.
Washington, Pittsburgh, then Columbus.
And not an
think so,
easy
yeah.
division because even the wild card teams,
Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because then Washington played Columbus.
Oh, was
and
Columbus number
Pittsburgh-
2?
Yeah. No. Pittsburgh was number 2. Because Washington, because Pittsburgh played no, that doesn't make sense.
no, maybe Washington didn't win.
You know what can solve this? Us just taking 8 seconds to look up the standings.
The Pittsburgh Penguins own Kraft Dinner.
No, it was definitely, then Pittsburgh must have won it because it
so
was,
it was
yeah.
Washington, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. I forgot Philadelphia was in the playoffs.
Man, that's what the playoffs do.
Wow.
I'd
Wow,
be
yeah,
hard
so
pressed
it's-
to name every
so
playoff team. I might have
Washington-
missed Philadelphia.
Washington, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia is how the Metro finished up. And then the wild cards were Columbus, New
Pittsburgh,
Jersey.
Philadelphia. Oh my
I
God.
can't believe I forgot.
And that's, you know what's amazing about Washington winning that division?
What?
No Shattenkirk. What was the other move that didn't they lose someone in the expansion?
Justin Williams. And they
Nate
lost
Schmidt?
Nate Schmidt.
So they lose those 3 guys, and then
Their decor took a pretty decent hit.
pretty decent hit. Might take another hit this summer. But they lose those 3 guys. They lose the pressure, and they win in the Metro, which is the best division in hockey right now.
Yep. Yeah, they.
I mean, I'm impressed. The Devils gave the Leafs all kinds of problems this year, and the Devils play the Leafs game. They just play it better.
And they lost Marcus Johansson.
Yeah, like this is not.
And they lost a lot.
It's not a joke. Like this is I'm genuinely impressed. Genuinely impressed.
Well, you know what never gets accounted for is when a team loses someone, it's how prepared they are to lose that player. Like you don't know, like how many of us actually know the AHL or European depth of like, I don't know, the St. Louis Blues.
If this were my full-time job, I might know it. But this is not my full-time job, so I don't know it.
Well,
I know what I need to know when I need to know it.
like I know what the Leafs had for breakfast, but
Yeah.
to do that
to
for then every
for
team.
31 teams, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
You can know the issues of the day, but to know them back to front's pretty hard. Knowing any team back to front, like the Leafs have multiple reporters
Yeah.
from every outlet. That's how much there is to cover. Now, Washington does have a chance here to close out Pittsburgh. You can never bet against Pittsburgh because it's Pittsburgh.
They have a chance. Even if they lose tonight, they still have a chance.
But even if Washington loses this series,
Which, it's, again, Pittsburgh, just like Nashville.
you have to. There were people at the beginning of the season thinking, "Now Washington's done. They're not even going to make playoffs this year."
I think we even said in the summer, like, even though they took a huge hit, you don't just go from President's Trophy to bums. Like, I think they still took like a 15, 20-point dive in the standings, and you're still able to win the division. Because they killed it last year. They absolutely killed it. And the Leafs put the fear of God in them. They really did. I think that series messed with their heads.
Shouldn't have.
Shouldn't have.
Martin Marinson was our second pairing guy. Come on.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. The Leafs scored first. And then it goes to overtime.
Won a couple games in OT.
Capitals win. Yeah, of course. But then, dude, the Leafs had a 2-win series lead.
They did. If it ends up being a Jets-Knights Western Conference final,
Unbelievable.
which is unbelievable,
Unbelievable.
who out-magics the other? Who's got more magic? Who wins that series? Because the Jets are a great team. They've got a great, strong top four defense and great scoring and all that. But the Knights are so fast.
The Knights have more magic. The Jets have more being an amazing hockey team.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so damn good. Their offense was really strong last year, but what they lacked a little bit, I think they lacked health also on the back end. But their defense got a little better, and their goaltending became Vezina caliber instead of shite.
Remember that
And they
piece,
didn't even call this.
Remember that piece you did jointly with Andrew Berkshire about Paul Maurice having never had a good goaltender his
Connor
entire
Hellebuck
career?
is hands down the best goalie Paul Maurice has ever had in his NHL head coaching career that began with the Hartford Whalers. Hartford Whalers.
And Paul Maurice isn't even old. He's
Not.
No,
he's like
he's-
Brendan Shanahan's age, I think. He's barely a trusted hockey man. Which, by the way, that's why the goalies were so bad for him early on. He wasn't a trusted hockey man for most of his career. Now he's older and more trusted hockey man-y.
Who do you think comes out of that series?
Winnipeg,
if it
man.
happens. You think Winnipeg?
Winnipeg happens, man.
Now, does that
Do you know what's
turn...
going to happen tonight?
What?
Pecorine is going to have the greatest game of his life. Because according to the patterns of how the games have gone, he's at an 8-13, and then a 9-20,
Great.
and then an 8-84, and then a 9-70. And last game, he was terrible, 7-69.
So he's super Pecorine about the playoffs, basically.
So it's literally
That is the most
game to
Pecorine.
game. So, first of all, what the hell is wrong with Pecorine, and why can't he be consistent?
that is Pecorine. That's just Pecorine season to season.
It's like, what the hell is wrong with this car that I've had for 10 years? Like, you know how the car runs. That's how Pecorine runs, man. He's sometimes bad, sometimes good.
And every time he plays good, they win. And every time he plays bad, they lose. So hopefully Pecorine, or hopefully not, if you're a Jets fan, he shows up tonight.
That's the tough thing about the Preds in the playoffs is, you can get by on that in the regular season, but
In 7 games, if Pecorine can't pull it together,
If your
be
goalie's-
consistent, then it's a problem.
you need your goalie to be otherworldly against the Jets. The Jets are crazy.
But the thing is, Pecorine has that ability. It's just that there are seasons where, I remember a couple of years ago, he was voted into the All-Star game, and we're like, he is the 40th best goalie in the league. But then the next season, he was a Vezina like last year, it was Vezina caliber.
Went to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just Pecorine, man. And there's a few people in Pittsburgh, although he was loved there, who felt the same about Marc-Andre Fleury.
Okay. So this has been interesting to watch with Penguins fans, and maybe I just misread it, but it was
You sound bothered.
Well, it was the
why I
weirdest
laughed.
cult following. Like, oh God, we just missed Flower. 3-time Stanley Cup champion who was the starting goalie for one of them. Oh my God. And it was
But he
just
got him through the first 2 rounds last year.
fine. It was just Flower. It's
better than what we've done.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We don't have Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, but it was just weeping
damn.
in the Flower, we love you. And now there's just been this armada of people I've seen that have been like, he cost Sidney Crosby 5 cups, and I'm like, pardon? Where did this come from? And it's absolutely fair to say that he sucked in the playoffs for a number of years. He did. He was bad, objectively. Cost them a few series straight up. I'll still never forget that crazy, 8-4, 8-5 game.
He played
against
15
Philly.
games last year, by the way.
Wow, okay, that's not nothing.
15 games?
That's what he
15
played more than half.
playoff games last year. How many
And
does it take to win? I don't know how many he won.
It
But
takes 16 games
that's
to
what
win.
to win, but
He got him through the first 2 rounds. That's when Matt Murray came back in the conference final. I remember that.
okay, yeah.
Yep.
Anyways,
Yep.
So
Wait,
it's
Okay, fine. He was the starting goalie for 1.5 of the 3. But then, which is like, I'm not trying to downplay it. It's still crazy. But now all of a sudden he cost the Penguins cups. What? Where did this come from?
You know what's funny, too? The Penguins had to give up a 5th pick to get rid of him. From an asset management point, although they did make the right choice in the end.
Oh, Fleury.
They gave up a 5th to make sure.
Second.
Oh, it was a second.
It's a second.
They could have traded him for more than that at the trade deadline.
Yeah, he had a no trade, though. So
Yeah,
he
he had no
controlled
trade.
his own destiny. He only wanted to go to Vegas for some bizarre reason.
They also won the Stanley Cup, so I wouldn't take back any.
No,
decision
that
they've
was the
made
right
ever.
move.
Yeah.
The
Like
right
in
move.
franchise history, they ended up
Plus,
with the Stanley Cup. so
they
you
don't
can't
get through
forget
those first 2
anything.
rounds without him. They
Exactly.
just don't.
Yeah.
Last year, they don't. With the defense core being what it was, no Chris Letang, Ron Hainsey's your number 1 guy. I mean, look at how that worked out for us.
But again, when I tell other fan bases, they don't understand how spoiled they are sometimes.
Penguins.
They're able to, they're back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, and they're retroactively going back and saying that the goalie that helped win them a cup last year cost them cups.
But if he had played like this, maybe they'd have 4. in a
You're
row.
right. Maybe
That's
if
ignoring
Cam
the fact
Ward
that
learned how to
Chicago
be
was-
Cam Ward forever, he'd beat Patrick Waugh and Martin Brodeur.
2006 Cam Ward should have figured that out for the rest of the Cam Ward career. By the way,
Idiot.
why is he still in Carolina? Why is Cam Ward, when I was beginning high school, was in Carolina? Why is he still there?
Dude,
he's been good about 3 seasons.
He forged his birth certificate, and he's actually been 45 for a very long time, and he's a trusted hockey man, and that's why he's still there.
Do you know how old he actually is?
Oh, he's like...
He's got to be in his late 30s.
33.
34.
No way.
He's 34. He's that young.
Wow, he was
He was
brilliant.
a rookie when they won the cup. It was crazy, and everyone's like, the next big thing! I traded for him in my video games. Him and Dan Blackburn.
Oh, Dan
No one
Blackburn
could
was
score
gonna
on
be
my
huge.
team. Marek Svatos, Patrick O'Sullivan. We were unbelievable. Alexander Semin. We were great. We were stars.
Oh man, Marek Svatos was so much fun to play with. Yeah, just
Flying
so
around
much faster than
Marek
everybody else.
Svatos. Next shift, Kyle Wellwood.
Who got injured to make Cam Ward the starting goalie in the playoffs?
Martin Gerber.
Oh,
No, and I don't think he got injured. I
No, he just got
remember
replaced?
this. In the first round, Carolina was playing the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal won the first 2 games.
Wow.
Actually, that's twice. It was twice in a 5 or 6 year span. Montreal won the first 2 games of the first round against the eventual Stanley Cup champions because they were up 2 games on Carolina, lose, Carolina wins the cup, and they were up 2-0 on Boston.
Wow.
Boston went on to win the cup. Yep. Why do I don't know why I know that.
I don't
Also,
know why you
hope
know
I'm
that
wrong.
either. How do you know
The
that?
Canadians own craft dinner. That sounds right.
So I want to bring it back to the San Jose series for a second.
his Stanley Cup winning year, Cam Ward had an .882 average in the regular season. Save percentage.
Yeah.
I don't know why I say average.
What was it in
Wow.
playoffs?
I don't have it in front
Does
of
it
me.
say? No.
I was on Hockey DB.
Because you
and
went
not
on Hockey
reference.
DB?
Yeah, I should always go to Hockey Reference.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways.
Now, San Jose is an interesting team. Loads of cap space. But there are some very angry Sharks fans who are like, I hope you rip Doug Wilson and everybody else apart, Peter DeBoer and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, first off, Peter DeBoer is a good coach.
Second of all, you have a good team.
Yeah, and this goes back to your argument about spoiled teams. Because there are people that are, and I would call them spoiled.
They're a weird hybrid of tortured and spoiled.
They're the Toronto Raptors.
Do you know what would happen in this city if we ever made the second round? It's true. They are.
They're a really good team, and if in any other era, maybe it's their time, but they just keep running into better teams, and they just can't get
Jesse-
over that elite hump.
You know, you guys made fun of me when I talked about my life as a Leafs fan and compared it to my bootlegged VHS of Robin Hood. Let me go over the story again. When I was a kid, my parents bootlegged, the cartoon Robin Hood, where Robin Hood was a fox and all the characters were animals. Okay?
I remember that one.
And I would watch it. I would watch the whole thing.
With commercials?
Yes.
On the Magical Night of Disney.
Getting in trouble? It's fun getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's this part, I don't know, the castle's on fire or something. It's the climax of the movie, and Robin Hood needs to jump out of the flaming tower, and he jumps into a river, and the VHS cut out because my dad recorded over it. He recorded, I think it was Buddy Rich on the Muppets. Buddy Rich, the old drummer, when I play the theater, I play the theater. And he's on, and Animal the Muppet. He's trying to keep up with Buddy Rich, and he can't do it because he's just playing amazing
So
drums.
you never knew how that movie ended?
Never knew how that movie ended. That is the San Jose Sharks' entire existence. Every time
they should blame Buddy Rich.
Yeah,
and
someone taped over the end of their movie every time. And I watched that video. I watched that VHS.
That's so much more depressing than the actual San Jose Sharks.
I watched that VHS all the time, like almost every day. And every day, it was weird. Like, when you're a kid, you're an idiot. And I would watch and, like, believe. I'd be like, this is the day I get to watch the whole thing. Like, I thought I could make the rest of the movie appear with my mind. I asked my parents, I'm like, can we rent the real version of this from the video store, like, just up the street? And they're like, no, you have it here. I'm like, I don't have the end of the movie. I'm sitting here like,
Have you
I need
seen
to know
it?
if Robin Hood gets away.
To this day, have you seen it?
A long time ago. I don't remember it.
Okay.
I don't remember how it ends.
But you saw it eventually.
I did see it.
All right, so San Jose Sharks fans, you're going to win the Stanley Cup. You're going to see your movie.
And the Washington Capitals and the St. Louis Blues,
I'm sorry.
same thing. They
No.
all win the cup in the same year.
3 cups.
And the Leafs are just like, no!
People are talking about San Jose and the amount of cap room they have this year going into the summer.
It's crazy.
Is it though? The projected cap hit right now
Run down. Yeah.
is $60 million. But the estimated salary expenditure is something like 63. They're projecting, or at least Cap Friendly is projecting, that they'll have about 14 million. Now that might be based on today's salary cap, which is what, 75?
5.
If it goes up to 80, then that becomes 20 and it's a lot.
Who are they losing?
They're going to lose
Evander Kane doesn't count.
Joe Thornton.
No, it does. That's $5 million off that number.
Yeah, it does count.
5.2.
Yeah, but
Right?
he was a deadline
I was
acquisition.
looking at next year though. I was talking about numbers for
Anyways,
next year.
Yeah, that
sorry.
doesn't matter.
Joe Thornton, Evander Kane, Joel Ward, Tom
Joel
Sherwood.
Ward's got an expensive deal. Yeah.
Well, he's done now. He's 37. Like somebody will pick him up, but he's probably done
totally.
it. He's done it 3.275. Thomas Hertl is going to be an RFA. He makes $3 million already. You got to think that doubles, maybe 5.
That goes up.
Yannick Hansen, UFA, and Eric Fair. $2 million Eric Fair.
Ari Fairman.
But
Very fair.
here's the thing: Brent Burns, Paul Martin, and Paul Martin. You have to remember wasn't playing. He's still got another year.
But is he terrible?
Maybe not. But he is 37, making $4.85 million and not playing. Marc-Edouard Vlasic is signed till the end of time,
So is Brent Burns.
and his deal doesn't kick in until next year, until this coming season.
All right.
Marc-Edouard Vlasic makes 4.25 this year, makes 7 next year, until 2023, 2024.
That is
That it might even be longer.
ungood.
Justin Braun is still there for a few more. Like you've got Dylan DeMello, who's got to be re-signed, but he's 25. It's probably an easy re-sign.
Former
I don't know that
Mississauga Steelhead.
You're probably looking at having, because if Thomas Hertl's going to make $5 million more, or sorry, not $5 million.
That's already accounted for in that number, correct? Like Cap Friendly does that math.
Well, not in this particular case. If Thomas Hertl's going to go up $2 million,
Oh, you mean
yeah.
like what he's going to resign?
Yeah.
Oh, I
He
mean
probably
like,
gets $5 million.
I mean like all the extensions.
maybe more.
I don't know how he did the season exactly.
But quite frankly, everybody's talking about Tavares to San Jose.
Oh, for crying
Because
out loud.
Doug Wilson is a big game hunter. Actual sentence I heard used. The problem is, I think they might only have $14 million.
But it's only like 3 roster positions because your defense core is set there.
Yeah.
They need one guy there and you fill him in with whatever.
Well, you're losing-
But then your forwards, you're losing Joe Thornton and Evander Kane, but that's already a rental. So then what main top 6 are you losing that you can't fill in on the back end? And then you throw in Tavares. You got like $10 million for that.
Kane Thornton.
You got about $10 million for
Yeah,
that?
you probably do.
Well, and what was Thornton's cap hit this year?
$8 million.
Dude, like signing Tavares wouldn't even be that big of a hit.
No, that's true. Now,
comparison.
the thing is, too, San Jose has no second round and no third round pick this year
Oh, goodness.
because the Leafs got their second, I think,
Yeah.
from 2 years ago from the Polak trade.
I think you're right.
The Reimer trade.
The Reimer trade was the third.
Yeah, we got the third. It was Polak and Spalling that got us 2 seconds. So yeah, interesting. Very interesting to see but I don't think they're as big a player as everybody thinks they are.
Do you think they have a bit of an internal cap sort of thing?
No, I don't. I think they could probably spend. I just feel like if I'm San Jose and I'm looking at what's available and what I have as a team, to me, it makes a lot more sense to spread that money around. I think you're gonna go and spend that money on John Tavares and you're gonna get the same result. You're gonna get a first or second round.
Really? And so, say you take out Joe Thornton, you put John Tavares.
And Evander Kane.
See, that doesn't count. The Sharks were great before they had Evander Kane.
Yeah, but they were
That's the
greater
difference.
after.
Yeah, but it's like...
And he played amazing
It's like,
for
the
them.
Caps lost Shattenkirk. Well, no.
But Shattenkirk didn't play well for
them. They
them.
were President's Trophy level without him, right?
I know. I'm just saying I might look different. I would look at that differently, I think.
I wonder, how old is John Tavares?
7?
Seven?
I want to guess.
I think 7.
Oh, wait. Let's play our game. Let's play our new favorite game.
Oh, great.
How old is Tavares?
How old is John Tavares? Nope, that's not. How old is John Tavares?
Okay, I found this on the web for how old is John Tavares.
Your Apple product sucks.
To Virus is what she asked.
Two Virus. Try Tavares.
How old is John Tavares?
According to my sources, John Tavares is 23 years old.
Nope.
Johan Tavares.
He's 27.
Siri, you're an idiot.
He's a pitcher from the Hiroshima Carp. I believe that was a Japanese league baseball team. His jersey number, 142.
What?
Japan rules.
That's awesome.
Anyways,
Okay.
So John Tavares, 27 years old.
you suck, Siri.
Did you look that up, Adam?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why not? Okay, so you know CJ's crazy idea for the Leafs should sign him to $15 million for 1 year. Why? Okay, it doesn't have to be the Leafs. Like apparently the Sharks could afford it. Why not? Why not do that if you're John Tavares? The Sharks' time to win is now with guys like Burns and Couture and Vlasic and Jones, like vaguely in their prime.
And then you have a bad year, and your next contract is $8 million. Or then
But you just made 15.
or then you break your leg and you can't play hockey anymore. You don't have a contract.
Oh, and he's
You-
broke.
No, you take.
No, I
term.
know. Yeah, but what are the odds of that happening? But then again, I just argued against that for John Tavares. You're right.
If somebody wants to give you $8 million right now and pay you $10 million every year for the next 8 years, you probably take that over $15 million and risking that.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just me, though.
you might be right.
Adam, what are you signing on?
I think
Exposed brick.
if the Sharks sign John
away
Tavares,
from
they've got a
Oshawa.
lot of money wrapped up in a lot of players for a long time.
I just don't want the Habs to get him.
Okay, fair, but I don't
People
think
keep
they
talking
will.
about that, and I'm like, no.
I just think they got a lot of money wrapped up in a lot of players for a long time, and they should be very careful. And John, if he's looking at that, should be very careful as well, because Brent Burns is 33 years old, guys, and he signed
Oh, really?
for the next 7 years.
No, but players in their 40s usually play really well.
It worked for Brent Seabrook, who got benched and then came back and scored a goal.
Brent Seabrook's 35, though, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, he's older.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Marc-Edouard Vlasic, 31, signed till well past 23, 24. Like,
Oh, that's so bad.
that's the thing. Like, I just wouldn't, if I were them, you need a little bit of flexibility.
Among the teams expecting the cap to go up, the Sharks.
For sure. They're betting big on that, I would think. So yeah, interesting. Now, there are a couple Leafs things that we should talk about. The first one is, and this was reported on by Elliot Friedman and Nick Kiprios in headlines on Saturday, which is Mike Babcock and Austin Matthews will meet in Arizona. Mike Babcock and his family are vacationing there. Austin Matthews lives there
Very
in
conveniently.
the offseason. And it seems like they're going to meet and air their differences if that hasn't happened already, which we will never hear about. We'll never know what happened in that meeting. This is a big deal because it's Toronto, right?
What is Mike Babcock's contract?
I think he's got 5 more years at $5 million each or something, or $6 million.
I think it's even more. I think he makes 6 point something.
An 8-year contract for $15 million. $50 million.
So he makes 50.
6.25, 50 divided by 8,
Okay.
with an annual average of 6.25.
$50 million. What's if Matthews conservatively gets $10 million over the next 8 years? Conservatively, that's $80 million. There is this is a $130 million relationship. No shit. They talk. Like, no kidding. They meet in the offseason. Like, Mike Babcock is known to be a bit of a nuisance. Like, in the summer, he's texting his players all the time. Yeah, he should visit Austin Matthews. I'd be mad if he wasn't. Now, the airing of grievances thing, whatever. It's funny. Kyprios is still on the backpedal tour. Like, wait, guys, calm down. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, star players fight with their coach sometimes. I mean, there's been a history of players who have been unhappy with Babcock, but for the most part,
Nick Lidstrom would have played 2 more years if it wasn't for Mike Babcock.
For the most part,
so said somebody randomly.
For the most part, it seemed like,
which is the dumbest take I've ever heard.
For the most part, it seems like it was guys like kind of with the sun setting on their career. It wasn't a guy like Austin Matthews.
No, it's fucking Mike Commodore.
Well, among other guys, like Mike Modano didn't like it, and man, Babcock did Mike Modano dirty a little bit, but.
Was Mike Modano good?
Well, and that's the cold way that Babcock looked at it at the end of his career. But Matthews, sticking to the point, is 20. Babcock makes $50 million to be their coach for 8 years. Matthews is going to be with the Leafs hopefully for life, and they're going to give him over $100 million over that span. Yeah, it makes sense that they meet up and talk shop a little bit. It's not weird. It's not weird. He's also going to Denmark to talk to Freddie Anderson. Mm-hmm. He's making the rounds. It's what he does.
Well, my question
is what he's paid to do. It's what he's paid amazingly to do.
My question is, have you ever had a disagreement with your boss? I've had my favorite bosses. I have disagreements with them all the time.
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
It's like, I remember I used to walk into my buddy, my now friend Rob, who is, was at my wedding, who was my boss in Halifax. And I used to go into his office and say, this song is shit, you need to drop it. And that was his thing, was music. He was really good at music. And this song sucks, you really need to drop it. And in turn, he would tell me, like, I would do breaks and I was at the beginning of my career, and he'd look at me sometimes and go, so what the fuck was that? That was terrible. Like, and I was 20. But that's sort of what happens. That's how you get the best out of each other. So I don't think it's a big deal. And another manufactured thing to me, and this is something that Nick Kyprios has talked about.
Please be going there.
That Glenn Healy has talked about now.
Oh, please be going there.
Now, Nick Kyprios said this, and I want to be specific when I say this because it's only fair to him. What he said was, the feeling around the NHL is Mark Hunter has a better resume for general manager.
I transcribed it today, Adam.
Than Kyle Dubas. Please go ahead, Steve.
Well, okay, sorry. And just to get this out there, here's what he said about the Matthews thing. It's common for star players sometimes to battle with their coaches over things like ice time, which I think is fair. Mm-hmm. But what isn't common is that happening a week after exit meetings. So it's clear that this is a priority for Babcock and hoping to smooth things out. So come training camp, I think everyone's on the same page. Now, the transcription of what you're talking about. Well, a lot of executives that I've spoken to really believe that when it comes to the next general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, it certainly goes in the favor of Mark Hunter for no other reason than his resume. And a lot of executives still believe that Kyle Dubas's pales in comparison to the years of experience and multiple Memorial Cups. The issue for Brendan Shanahan moving forward is if he does decide to go with Kyle Dubas, many believe he runs the risk of losing Mark Hunter, who would have a tough time answering to Kyle Dubas. And Friedman says, by the way, it's believed Hunter and Shanahan met yesterday to discuss the situation and see where it was going to go. And we'll see what the announcement eventually is, whether it is Hunter or Dubas or someone else. Yes, Adam?
I would like to read a tweet.
I want to read it. I want you to read it.
I want to read it. It's from a guy who tweets a lot, who we give a hard time for tweeting a lot. It is Stephen Birch. But this is a great tweet. said just a little perspective on the Dubas versus Hunter debate and earning things. Dubas began as a stick boy for an OHL club 21 years ago. He worked his way up through hockey ops, scouting, while earning a university degree, by the way, working as an NHL player agent, then as an OHL GM, an AHL GM, and an NHL AGM. Mark Hunter played 12 years in the NHL. Then he became the coach of the Sarnia Sting for 5 years, with a 1-year stop in St. John's with the Baby Leafs to varying degrees of success. Then he bought an OHL team in London, head coached them for 1 year, and has won with huge resources.
Wait, he bought them?
He owns the London Knights.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mark Hunter.
That's why it's our OHL team.
Oh, me without a T. Go ahead.
Mark Hunter, the guy who is the assistant general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs,
Go ahead, Jesse.
is the owner of the Knights that play in London, Ontario, Canada.
Not the...
The very same.
Yeah.
He owns 100%
I believe it's the Hunters family.
I don't know the specifics, Jesse.
the Ontario Hockey League team, London Knights.
Yeah,
Dominant Mitch Marner team.
Interesting.
Now, while
They
that
are
is-
our
I had
OHL
no
farm
idea.
club. There's no question. It's the Leafs OHL farm club.
Well, and anyone who's
Wow.
That's it.
anyone who's a big OHL fan also knows Knights history of suspicion of shenanigans. If we're going to talk about their resume, but look, while that is a good point, and yeah, that is fishy, Jesse. And while I just said the
didn't
thing
say it
that I
was
said,
fishy.
Okay, sorry.
More like cod.
Let me take those words back. I'm sorry.
made no
Jesse,
sense.
how dare you?
That didn't make
No.
sense. Cod is a fish. It was more like beef. No, beef is already a term. It doesn't make
How
sense
about we just
either.
keep going with whatever Steve's
It was
going
more
with?
like chicken. I think that one works.
You're gonna have to rent a backhoe if you dig any deeper. Oh my god.
I think I did a great job.
Well, anyway.
Continue.
So while all those things are duly noted about Mark Hunter, I think too many people are making this a versus thing. Like Leaf fans, anyone who's talking bad about Dubas or talking bad about Hunter, remember, same team.
Well, and
Same team. Ideally, the Leafs keep both.
well,
And they
that's,
get along splendidly.
That's where I feel like this is a manufactured narrative. On
Yes.
that point, I don't believe it. I don't believe any of this.
No, I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
You believe that if the Leafs hire Kyle Dubas, they're going to lose Mark Hunter.
I don't believe that.
That's
I
what I'm
believe
saying.
Everything Nick Kypreos said was true.
Yeah.
Executives think
That's
A,
all he
B,
said.
C.
Executives think.
Now,
It doesn't mean they're going to do that.
Kypreos' job is to talk to people and go around the league and say
Take the temperature of the room.
what they said to him,
Yeah.
take the temperature of the room. And it's so difficult to get Leafs news internally. That's how you get it. What Nick Kypreos can't do, that I'm about to do, is go, yeah, well, my source is full of shit. Dude, it's literally just
Guessing.
whoever he's talking to going, well,
Dale Talon.
here's what I think. Here's what I would do. And are you telling me folks around the NHL would default to the old guy? You don't say. No way. No way are NHL people who allowed an expansion franchise to make it to the Final Four defaulting to the old guy just because. No way.
No
Are the
way.
folks of this forward-thinking, not Mickey Mouse and backward at all league, going with the old guy just for fun? No way.
No
They
way,
think
Adam.
Dubas' resume pales in comparison. Yes, he's 20 years younger. Maybe more?
I
How
would
old
like
is
to
Mark
see.
Hunter?
How about you line up Mark
As old as
Hunter
Kraft
and
dinner.
Kyle Dubas' resume at the same age?
Kyle Dubas owns Kraft Dinner. Dubas Dinner. Got a show title.
Well done.
There it is. Dubas Dinner. Alliteration. Yes, Adam.
Question from the audience.
Yes.
First time, long time.
You there, Adam.
If
Adam from Burlington.
Mark Hunter was such a slam dunk candidate, as some people would have you say, because that's Glenn Healy said it's the poison pill.
What?
The poison pill that Brendan Shanahan has to take. No matter what, he loses one of them. This is what he said on Sportsnet 590. And
absolutely
I
not.
disagree, and I don't think that's the case. What he was suggesting was there's no way Mark Hunter's going to take orders from a younger man, which is bananas.
He
Just-
currently does, by the way.
Brendan Shanahan is younger than him.
Literally does. Continue.
Beyond that, if Mark Hunter was so in demand as a general manager, why wasn't Colorado knocking down the door to hire him last summer?
Why didn't we ever hear about that?
Why have we not heard one rumor about any team coming to get Mark Hunter as a general manager? You know why? Because Mark Hunter doesn't want to leave. Because Mark Hunter's got a pretty sweet job. He makes as much money as he could ever want, and he owns a team where he makes more money and sees insane success. and he gets to scout, which is what he loves to do.
Also, I'm purely assuming that Mark Hunter actually wants to stay and would stay as a general manager, because it's not like I know. It's not like I have sources. But I'm giving him the credit of believing that he's willing to do all those things. If he is not, and this is hypothetical because I don't know, I'm talking about a hypothetical person right now. I'm talking about a Mark Hunter that thinks I will not take orders from this younger person. I will, as some people said, just go back to my junior team. You're the Toronto Maple Leafs. You are an over $1 billion club. If someone's plan B is I'm just going to go to my junior team, you spit in their face and pack their bags for them. How dare you? We brought you in 2014. You wasted our time. Your backup plan was the London night. Get out of here, you bum. If that is what he said.
I don't think that's his
I don't
attitude.
think is what he said at all.
No.
Your other aspiration is, well, I'll just go play with my hockey team that I bought. What? Sorry, I'm getting angry at a hypothetical human being.
I don't think that's Mark Hunter's attitude. I don't think the Leafs would bring a person like that on.
If you're the Toronto Maple Leafs and someone's backup plan is I'll just go work for a junior team, you pack their shit for them.
What happened to it's Dubas' job and it's the plan, and why is everybody trying to waver
Because they're
from that?
manufacturing a storyline here. This is a bunch of guys.
They said the same shit 4 years ago.
This is a bunch of guys who you have to remember are a part of that club.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Kipper or Glenn Healy. They may have talked to guys who are a part of that club. That's
You're
what I mean.
talking
That's
about
what
the trusted hockey
I'm
man.
talking about the trusted hockey man thing. And isn't it interesting that as soon as Kyle Dubas' name's brought up, so is John Chakus. And it's like, that experiment clearly failed in Arizona, so the Leafs had better go the safe route. The problem here is that there is nothing. There's nothing to see here. And that's what's frustrating. There is literally nothing.
So there was the widely reported rumor that at the 2015 draft, who got into an argument?
It was Mark Hunter and Mike
Dubas
Babcock.
and Hunter, right?
No,
Oh, wasn't? Oh shit, who was it?
it was Babcock and Hunter.
Oh, weird. Why haven't we heard a single freaking thing about that rocky relationship? Where does Babcock needs to fly to London before he goes to Denmark. He needs to family vacation in London, Ontario.
Speaking of
Go to the
Babcock,
Sleeman Brewery.
How will Mike Babcock take orders from a younger man?
I don't know.
I hate to bring up this man.
Uh-oh.
I shouldn't hate to bring up this man. I'm going to bring up Steve Simmons. Did you see his report on Sunday?
I already hate it. Sorry, no, I'm kidding. I'm
that
kidding.
Babcock is upset that Lou is leaving?
I mean,
What?
yeah.
What did he say?
He wrote, I can bring it up.
Disappointed.
He wrote in his Sunday column
You
that
can be disappointed that one of the best general managers ever is leaving, yeah.
But he's
And
not
also he's not
leaving. That's another one. That's another one I can't stand. What? There's this whole thing about him going to the Islanders just because his kid's there. Again, I ask, in what capacity and why?
See, the interesting thing about that, though, Adam, is I want to go hard at Lou isn't going to leave, but if he does leave, it'll be overnight. Like, it'll be one of those things where we do a podcast about how ridiculous it is that he's leaving, and then we'll find out he's left the Leafs and joined the Islanders, like, within an hour of the
I don't think so.
podcast.
I don't think he's
That's
in.
how it was when he got to
Yeah,
the Leafs.
you're right, you're right.
I was like, wait, I thought he was still with the Devils. What the hell happened?
Do you want me to read this to you guys?
Yes.
The line about Babcock and Lou. Word around is that Mike Babcock wasn't happy with the kicking upstairs of Lou Lamoriello as Leafs general manager.
Not what happened.
As singular as Babcock and Lamoriello may be, the two had an excellent relationship in their 3 years working together. And then he goes into a thing about the Leafs having a 100-point season and a bevy of exciting young players. How quickly would you have signed up on that? And for that, you might have built a statue for Lamoriello, not show him the door.
They haven't shown
So
him.
and that's
this
where it
was the
exits.
plan.
So he says, ask
This
yourself
was
this.
the plan. He said it was the plan. Lou Lamoriello said this was the plan. How many times do we have to bring that fucking quote up? Come on, guys. Are we serious with this crap? This is so lazy. So lazy. We're better than this.
Okay, here's okay.
Can I read it for you one more time? The full quote.
Kick him upstairs?
Fine.
Oh,
Ron Francis got kicked upstairs.
Dale Talon.
word around is
And
that
then kick
Mike
back down.
Babcock wasn't happy with the kicking upstairs. You can debate that phrase however you want, of Lou Lamoriello
Nothing to debate, it's
as
incorrect.
Leafs general manager. As singular as Babcock and Lamoriello may be, the two had an excellent relationship in their 3 years working together.
Word was
Ask
Phil Kessel ate a lot of hot dogs in Toronto, too.
The
So
two of you, Leafs, ask
I
yourself
know.
this, Leafs fans. If someone had told you 3 years ago that the Leafs would be in the playoffs twice, had a record 100-plus point season, had a bevy of young, exciting players, and were on their way, how quickly would you have signed up on that? And for that, you might have built a statue for Lamoriello, not shown him the door.
Well, first off, no, with the statue. He's right in the sense that, man, when Mike Babcock came in here and said there will be pain, if you had told me that two out of the next 3 seasons, they were going to make the playoffs, I'd have been over the moon.
Yes.
This is
wasn't
great.
pain.
But again, I go back to Brendan Shanahan brought Lou Lamoriello in with this in mind. This is how this was supposed to go. This is how they said it would go. This is the one thing they've told us. This is the one piece of information. This is what's so great about the Leafs. They tell you nothing, and the one thing they do tell you, nobody believes because it's the Leafs. It's such a power move. It's unbelievable. They must have read the book, The 48 Laws of Power, because they were playing us like a freaking fiddle. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I just don't whether Lou leaves or not is immaterial. This was the plan. This was always the plan. And by the way, the plan is for sure for Lou to still be there as a resource. Why would Lou leave? He's 75 years old. Why wouldn't he just enjoy his life in Toronto, make the same amount of money, do less, and still be involved in a very exciting franchise? I don't understand. I don't understand why that's an insult. Why Lou Lamoriello's legacy, believe it or not, when Kyle Dubas comes in and is a success, will be even more glamorous.
Lou Lamoriello's legacy isn't even in Toronto.
No, it's not. It's in New Jersey. But
You don't even think of him as Toronto's GM.
This is like the
It's still weird.
It's not a
He
thing.
got hired and is leaving the position, and it's still weird.
Oh, he's in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, it was the beginning. Yeah, his time with the Leafs as GM has begun and ends, and it's still weird.
This is the exclamation point.
It's still weird that Babcock's coach.
If Kyle Dubas isn't hired, who does that reflect poorly on?
Brendan Shanahan.
And?
Lou Lamoriello.
So because
Because those two guys are the guys that were supposed to mentor him.
Yeah, no, it's the plan. And I don't know why
This is Lou's legacy, guys.
So Lou did a lot of great things as general manager of this team.
And I think more than just the moves, the culture.
Well, the culture, absolutely. But the bevy of young players.
Yeah.
Like William Nealon. Nope, that was 2014. Okay. Like Mitch Marner. Nope, that was 2015. Okay. Like Travis Dermott. Nope, sorry, that was 2015 also. Okay. Like Andreas Janssen. No,
that was a hard pick.
That was before. Oh, well, he did the Phil Kessel trade, and that brought in Kasperi Kapanen. Oh, no, that trade was made before Lou Lamoriello. Who? Oh, shit. I think that was Dubas and Hunter. It wasn't Lou. It was before he got there.
I think they work well together. I think they work
Austin
well
Matthews. Yeah. Lottery pick, but sure, we'll bend the goalpost for you there. Like, the bevy of young players, a lot of that was done by Tweedledee and Tweedledum, who you don't think can do the job.
And don't think that they can't work together. Which is also, it's insane that they can't work together. Oh, there's an OHL rivalry because Dubas used to be the GM of another team.
Can I definitively say something? Whether the job goes to Hunter or Dubas, it's going to be awful. Not for the team, for Twitter.
Oh, Twitter's going to suck.
The team will be fine.
Yep.
Twitter is going to
The day of, it's
stink.
going to be ruthless.
No matter who is hired. If it's someone external, I think maybe everyone gets mad, depending on who that person is. If it's Dubas, we know who gets mad. And if it's Hunter, we know who gets mad.
By the way, Caps and Penguins just went in overtime.
Anyway. Can we end the show?
No.
Before that happened?
We have to keep going.
Oh, shit.
We have to
Looking
give,
for a TV and there's none.
Like, has overtime begun?
it's coming.
Oh boy.
So,
all right, we got 5 minutes.
so here's the thing.
Turn the TV on. Oh,
I
switch
can't
that.
turn the TV. Just throw it
Where's-
on
where's the
Sportsnet now. Dude,
Or don't do that.
dude,
No, I'm gonna do it.
Steve,
I have the
All right,
remote.
Adam,
Dad.
what's next?
Too bad.
What's next? Press conference?
Where's the box?
let's do the press conference. It's a lot.
Where's the box?
It doesn't even matter that I have anything to say.
No, Adam, what's next?
No, forget it. Go.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
How deep were we into the podcast? Is it around the time we should be ending?
Is it that deep?
Probably, yeah.
All right.
Ish.
Do you guys have a name for the Seattle franchise? This is from Bungent Under Gungent.
What?
You have an awesome name, Bungent Under Gungent.
I'm gonna go with the Supersonics,
Nope.
the Mariners,
Adam, do you have a name for Seattle?
the Thunderbirds.
The Seattle Rain. I don't know. No, I got nothing.
Seattle Brain.
Rain.
Oh,
don't
Seattle Galaxy
Super
Brain.
lame. This
I
is
thought you
super
said brain. So the Seattle Galaxy Brain.
Now let's wait till they pay their expansion fee before we get into this.
Wow.
I mean, really?
Do you have an early pick for Conn Smythe?
Wait, the Seattle probably gonna wear greens.
Yeah, for sure.
They're gonna
Early
wear.
pick for Conn Smythe? Second most upvoted question.
Well, okay, we got to go each team that's remaining. So let's do Pittsburgh.
Oh
first.
no, Sportsnet now won't even play. It won't even stream it because the game's supposed to be over by now.
What?
Bummer.
Do you want to pull up the game?
I'm trying to pull up the game. Anyway,
I
sorry.
can do
Sorry,
that.
say that
It'd be
again.
So funny if you just pull it up. Well, okay.
Okay, here's
Fleury,
the-
Fleury for Vegas for sure. Oh, Jesse got it.
Yeah, overtime hasn't started yet.
Okay, good.
But
Fleury
who's
for
your
Vegas.
early Conn Smythe pick? Fleury for Vegas. Cool. Who else is left? Winnipeg. Bufflin.
Shifley's been very good. Bufflin's
Bufflin's
been
been
very
very
good. I'll pick Shifley
Okay.
just because.
Crosby for Pittsburgh because it can't be anybody else.
Crosby for Pittsburgh.
yeah, as you pick against Crosby, you're blasphemy.
Come on.
Yeah.
And
Ovi for Washington.
yeah.
Backstrom.
Kind of have to.
Oh, man, wouldn't that be
broken
great?
hand.
Backstrom. Oh,
His hand in a bandage can win.
that's not good.
For Tampa, Victor Hedman.
The whole team.
Oh, Vasilevsky.
You think
He's
so?
been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I was watching the highlights on Sportsnet Connected, and the entire highlight package was the 4 goals, so it was 3-1, and then it was just saves by Vasilevsky. It was incredible.
And
he put
also-
on a great performance.
That to me is why Tampa is. They're not getting nearly the cup consideration that they should be. Is I can't remember who I saw it from today. I want to say moneypuck.com. The Vasilevsky stopping everything, and Tampa is allowing nothing. So they're really stingy, really stingy. They're exactly the type of team that you need to beat the Jets. Defensively sound, deep offensively, goalie playing out of
Which
his mind.
is surprising that they're defensively sound because they played the crazy run and gun Toronto Maple Leafs type of hockey.
Maybe they just learned to shut it down a little bit. They got a crazy amount of playoff experience that we kind of forget because they haven't
This
won.
is the third time in 4 years that they'll be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Wow. 3 out of the 4 last years.
It's amazing.
And they made it in 2011 too. They took a little dip after that, but that's 4 conference final
well, yeah.
appearances. That's 4 conference final appearances in a very short amount
They
of
are
time.
so
Listen,
good.
we're grading on a Leaf scale here.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Are your picks alive still in the bracket challenge?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Who's your conference final four?
I think I had. Let me have a look at who made it through
I didn't
here.
have Vegas, so I'm already out. And I think I had Nashville.
I think I did have
I
Vegas.
suck. I did really bad.
You did poorly, yeah.
I definitely had. Did I have Winnipeg go through it? I'd have Nashville. I might have had Nashville. But Tampa winning, the Leafs not winning screwed me in the East.
Oh, you picked the Leafs to win
Yeah,
the cup?
but I might have picked the Capitals to win.
No,
So-
didn't you have them making it all the way to the final and
yeah,
losing?
you had
Who, the Leafs?
Nashville
No, I had them-
Leafs, didn't you?
I had Nashville Leafs, but I had Leafs winning. I will never bet against the Leafs in the bracket challenge. That's my one rule.
Okay.
As I can never bet against the Leafs.
Then I think your final was Leafs over Nashville. Then.
Yeah. So anyway, one thing I wanted to say about the Toronto thing, I want to bring it back to this. It's very important.
Oh boy.
What the most important thing for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now and going into this summer is not free agency. It's not right-handed D. It is their draft. They have graduated so many players over the last 2 years that cupboard is looking a little empty.
Well,
And they better hit. I mean, they've got some depth there.
the Marlies just won 7-1.
But dude,
Game 3.
we're not talking William Nylander talent coming out of there right now.
Right.
We're talking, and nothing against Andreas Johnsson. He could do, maybe becomes a Victor Arvidsson.
7 points in 3 or 4 games.
And that's great. But the point is, they need to stock up with elite talent other than Timothy Liljegren.
Yeah, I think this happens to like every team.
Sure,
they
if you graduate enough good
and you
players.
go, uh-oh. Oh yeah, sorry.
But
I guess I'm agreeing with your point.
The draft.
But I
the point-
sound like I disagree.
My point is, this draft is a big one, and so is next year. These are big drafts for them because when
If
you
you're
look
smart,
at
every draft is a big one.
sure, but you look at Tampa, right?
Yeah.
How many drafts have they gone through since Steven Stamkos?
Jeez, that was 2008.
Right.
Yeah, it's been like 10 years.
And that's the thing. Look at the guys they've picked up since then through the draft, and then through trade because of a great draft. You know, Sergachev, Hedman,
Unsigned free agents as well.
Vasilevsky, Yanni Gord, who apparently Kyle Dubas was a huge fan of.
Yep.
That's what I want to
believe
hear
it.
about. I want to hear about the draft. Let's talk about what they need to do at the draft.
Well, and I believe
I think they're picking 25th now or something like this. If
It's-
Pittsburgh loses tonight, it's 25th.
yeah, because the Sharks could have leapfrogged them, but they lost. And then Pittsburgh would be bad news if they lost too. But a Kyle Dubas find, I believe, because he was originally signed to an AHL deal. I think he's on an NHL deal now. And you got a few blogs who seem to be jumping on the train of this guy making the Leafs next year. I find it very hard to believe, but Trevor Moore has been playing very good for the Marlies. Everyone's got their
Yours is Pierre Engvall for some reason.
their pick they won't let go of, and mine's Pierre Engvall. I want him. I want him to make the team. Jansson's going to make it. Grunstrom's going to have a pretty good shot at making it.
Grunstrom's my guy. He makes it.
Dermott is going to make it
Cabin.
in all likelihood. And then there's the possibility of guys like Altonen and blah, blah, blah. So it starts with the draft, but it doesn't end there, right? You gotta sign potentially guys from college. You gotta sign potentially guys from junior. You gotta do some digging. The Marlies have done a good job. The Leafs have done a good job of finding ECHL guys and graduating them to the NHL, like skaters, not just goalies. Goalies, it's a little easier because there's so few jobs. And they don't always have to be all-stars. But like, for example, Justin Hall played games for the Leafs. Only 2, but he did.
And scored 2
Byron
goals.
Frais played games for the Leafs. Granted, they sucked. But it's tough. It's tough finding ECHL forwards. And I'm giving you an example of little things that give you depth and make you a little better. If it makes you 0.2 points in the standings better, it's worth doing.
I'm
You know
just
what I mean?
I'm concerned genuinely about this draft. People are talking, a lot of people talking about what if you trade that and a defenseman for another defenseman or whatever it is they're talking about. I don't think this is the draft. I don't think so.
Well, I mean,
You're drafting in 20 something, but remember PK and Duncan Keith and all those guys were 30, 40, 50th overall.
yeah.
Like, come on, guys. They've got to hit on these picks. They got to hit like they hit on Dermott and Bracco and guys like that. That they need a Dermott to graduate in the next 2 years.
But a pick at 25 is probably not going to play in the NHL for 2 or 3 years, especially a team like this. It's tough. They got some hard decisions to make. They could draft a really good player. They could trade the pick, and it's a great trade. I'm interested to see what they do.
I wouldn't even be against them trading down and getting multiple seconds.
There is so much on the go. Well, they don't even have a GM for starters. I wonder what the hell they're doing with Connor Carrick. I wonder what the hell they're doing with Josh Levo. I wonder what the heck they're doing with Matt Martin. They have 3 significant free agents. Their goaltending situation is actually a lot weirder than I thought because they got, okay, do you sell high on Curtis McElhinney or sell high on Garrett Sparks? I think it'd both be selling high. They're both signed through next year. Sparks requires waivers to get sent down. Pickard is an RFA and Kaskisuo is an RFA. So you got decisions to make on your entire goaltending depth, except for Freddie Anderson, who has played 66 games in both of the last 2 seasons.
I would sell.
So-
I would sell high on both of those guys. Sell high.
On both? But
Why
then
not?
who's your backup?
Pickard.
A free agent? Oh, Pickard? Gee.
Is
That's an interesting thought,
Is
Adam.
Calvin Pickard a bad backup?
But then who do you have behind him? Cassidy Swell?
If you can get him an A, you need to get him on an AHL deal, don't you?
Well, no, it'd have to be two-way.
Okay, you get him on a two-way deal. Would he have to clear waivers on that two-way
I
deal?
don't think so. I think he's young enough. I might be wrong.
Then use your starter with the Marlies next year.
Also, I don't think he'd get claimed. But
And also, we don't know what goalies look like really until they're 20, 21.
and also in the NHL. You know, like, yeah, the point has been made. Like, there are the goalie equivalent of, like, TJ Brennan. You know,
That are AHL All-Stars.
all-star, and then they get up to the NHL. Like, Sparks has been stopping everything down there. But Jesse and I were at a game where he stopped a puck without a glove. Like,
Yeah.
He's chaotic. A lot of his saves are super fun to watch because he's really athletic, but I wonder what, like, goalie coaches would say about him. I'm curious to know because he's not the cookie cutter Carey Price, very stoic, doesn't have to move a whole lot style. He's all over the frickin' place. The sort of guy who would have cleaned up 15 years ago.
In the NHL, what matters in goaltending most right now?
Stopping pucks.
No. What matters for goaltending most?
Form?
Body position.
Body position? Yeah.
And if Garrett Sparks isn't good at that, the Leafs are not going to be interested. Also, how big is he compared to Pickard? Because that's usually
They're
what they go
all
with.
big. Every one of those, every one of the 5 goalies in the Leafs professional system is 6'1" or taller.
Good.
Yeah.
Did you guys read the comment on our Dave Notice was interviewed by the Minnesota Wild?
Oh, yeah. We have to bring that up.
That's amazing. I'm so happy.
So, report is Minnesota Wild interviewed Dave Notice for their
Along
GM
with
job.
a bunch of other people, right? Like John Ferguson Jr. and
I assume.
I hope they bring in Notice and Ferguson Jr.
Well, TY Guy 105 wrote on our Reddit page. Dave Notice walks out of interview. Well, Potato, seems you're next. Good line in there. Which might be the funniest thing ever on our Reddit
Man,
page.
I think that's the peak of the show right there. We should just end it.
Oh, I have to apologize.
Why?
It's actually Miss Columbia. Sorry. No.
Last episode, I disrespected a great person in our society.
I
And I
accept
feel-
your apology.
And not you, Steve. And I feel really bad about it. And I feel like it's my right to apologize on the same platform where I made my mistake. Last episode, I called Bad Baby Bad Barbie. And people told me that I got it wrong. And I don't know how I could have said her name incorrectly.
I'm going to call myself out for knowing the both of you were wrong, but not having the confidence to be like, no, Steve, they're wrong. I was just like, you know what? It must be Bad Barbie. If it's 2 versus 1, I bet it's Bad Barbie.
Yeah, and if we did a terrible job. I think we should all be ashamed of ourselves.
Also, someone was mad that you're a Little Tay fan.
Lil Tay made me laugh a couple times. Give
Yeah.
her credit.
Also, I don't think they understood that you were joking
Yeah.
and that you weren't
You are
actually
a
a
little
fan
dry.
of a 9-year-old.
Am I dry?
A little dry.
I've never heard that before.
You may be the Sahara Desert of
That's
personalities.
interesting.
That's dry.
So, I mean, come on. By the way, Eric Engels, you should know, is tweeting about the Brad Marchand situation.
Who, me?
No, he's not
No,
doing
I'm
that.
joking.
Here's what he said. Eric wouldn't do that. Eric is like the last guy. He said, I wish
Is
I
he
could...
the nicest? Sorry.
I wish I could. Somebody tried to tell me, by the way, that nice is a bad thing, and they sent me a meme about why nice is a bad word because it doesn't mean anything. So I should use something else.
Oh, you saw the George Carlin bit.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Anyway,
So many
Is
things
there
are
like
like,
George Carlin bit?
Yeah.
About being nice?
he's so nice.
it doesn't really mean anything. It's nice is vanilla. Nice doesn't mean anything. I'm like, you guys know what I mean. I say nice as in they're good people, and I really enjoy their company.
And she's nice.
So Eric Engels wrote, I wish I could say I was trying to be clever with my on-the-nose tweet about Brad Marchand's response to the Habs, but in truth, I was just acknowledging he would put them in their place. I had a pretty good laugh when he replied to me with a fat joke. I make fat jokes about myself all the time. I could take it, and if he thought I was insulting him, I get why he fired back. I wasn't, but it was immediately clear why he thought I was. I feel bad about it, but I can't change it. Next time I see him, I'll tell him as much. Meanwhile, I thought about the general reaction to his reply and couldn't help but wonder how it would be received if he had said the same thing to a female reporter. Like, would that be the final straw for him in Boston if he'd written that to a woman? I doubt it ever crossed his mind. It was clear he thought up a quick response and just hit send. I should have thought more about what I was tweeting too. A lesson for me to take forward.
Wow.
He took it there.
Is he wrong?
No, I'm just surprised he said it. That's all. That's a hypothetical. It's just a little strange to be like, what if thing that didn't happen?
Yeah.
What if
It's a little-
Fictional thing.
What if I came in here wearing only my underwear? How would that have changed the show?
You know, Jesse and I would have to consider another host.
I have very hairy shoulders.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
See, that's how you know you're getting old. That's an old guy thing.
No, I've
I
had
don't
hairy
have
shoulders
those
since
yet.
I was 16, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got
so you
hair
just
early.
have those.
I'm hairy. Just hairy.
Justin Fisher has hairy shoulders too. It must be.
I thought Justin Fisher was a
Bajan
god.
thing.
I thought he just had no hair and
18
18
He's
abs
got a lot
and-
of hair.
If Eric Engels was a potato, how big is Brad Marchand's nose?
man, question of the show. Yo, let's throw that up on Reddit and see what happens.
The answer, of course, is Athens.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.